In today's world, brands are expected to become more service-minded and give people tools and content that make them want to interact.
There are a ton of people using Facebook and just getting their arms wrapped around the concept of sharing with each other digitally. And Facebook opened up the platform and said anybody now can build an application, and any company come in and let people share content with each other in a really frictionless, easy way.
The message has shifted from a passive message, which is inspiring you to do something, emotional kind of empowerment, to kind of go, right, I need to go out and run.
90% of consumers trust peer recommendations, and not even 14% trust advertisements.
Brands now are moving beyond just making traditional TV ads. A traditional brand just says, I'm going to make an ad, I'm going to interrupt you, and I'm going to sell you something. And that's worked for decades, but that model has shifted. The moment I have a remote control in my hand and I can fast forward something, I'm going to fast forward it. So from a user behavior perspective, that whole model has changed. I don't watch ads anymore.
You can't think about communications. You need to think about engagement, you need to think about experience. And I think that there are a lot of brands who are thinking about this, but not a lot of brands who are really doing work about this.
The buying process has changed. The way people seek for information has been shaken and shattered. There no longer is word of mouth, it is a world of mouth. What happens in Vegas now stays everywhere.
If you want to go buy a car, the process you use to buy a car now looks a lot different than it did 10 years ago. You may go to a dealership, but you may only go to the dealership to actually buy the car at the very end of the process now. You're certainly not going in at the beginning because you're going online and doing research. You may go to a Car and Driver magazine or something like that to see a review. But you may also go on to Facebook or Twitter or Google and see what other people have said. You may lean as much on peer-to-peer recommendations as you would on anything that a journalist had written or the car company itself. So you have people now bouncing among all the various stages of that process in a way that looks random.
If somebody had been collecting Nike shoes for the last 15 years and they knew every single product that Nike did, and then you have an advertising manager that got hired last year, who knows more about the brand? Is it the customer or the marketing manager?
Traditional thinking doesn't quite make it into a narrower and narrower attention span, drowned in a sea of endless possibilities.
It's a different way of thinking about brand value. We use brands to express our beliefs. We express ourselves through different access points and utility points and communication points through the brand.
I'll post, I'll read, I'll register. I think in this age are people surrounded by media, and it's hard to get their attention, so you need to be provocative to start. You need to actually, as a brand, say something that matters, say something that taps into someone's interest or their passions. The next important step is to connect, is to actually create a conversation around their interests. Fuel that relevance, fuel a dialogue, and put yourself into the debate somehow. It doesn't need to be controversial, but if they're interested in cars, create a place for them to go online, ideally, where they can talk about it, or create an app, or do something that puts yourself into the conversation that they care about.